Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member Cardin, and distinguished members of the committee. It's a real pleasure to be here, and a great pleasure to be here following my confirmation, and I thank you and all the members of the committee for your support. It's a pleasure to be here to talk about our U.S. policy towards Iran, and especially recent Iranian actions, and I will summarize, as you noted, the remarks that I have submitted officially. And I want to focus on three key policy objectives regarding Iran. The first is our intent to ensure that Iran adheres to the JCPOA and that Iran does not develop a nuclear weapon. The second is to counter Iran's support for terrorism and to counter its ballistic missile program, while also working diplomatically to encourage Iran to play a more constructive role in the region. And finally, to promote respect for human rights in Iran. Iran has taken significant irreversible steps that have fundamentally changed the trajectory of its nuclear program. Before the JCPOA took effect, Iran was less than 90 days away from getting enough fissile material for a nuclear weapon, should it have chosen to pursue that path. Today, Iran is over a year away from being able to get that material. Any attempt to do so would be quickly detected by the international community. In exchange for Iran completing its key JCPOA commitments, the United States and the European Union lifted nuclear-related sanctions on Iran. The United States retains our ability and authorities to snap back sanctions into place should Iran walk away from the JCPOA. But as long as Iran continues to meet its commitments, the United States will continue to meet our commitments. While we are encouraged by Iran's adherence to its nuclear commitments thus far, I want to emphasize that the JCPOA did not resolve our profound differences with Iran. We remain focused and determined to continue to address those differences and to take all necessary actions to protect ourselves and our allies. Iran's support for terrorist groups like Hezbollah, its assistance to the Assad regime in Syria, and to Houthi rebels in Yemen are at odds with core U.S. interests and pose fundamental threats to the region and beyond. That's why we have retained our sanctions related to Iran's destabilizing activities in the region, including its support for terrorism. We also believe the most effective way to push back on aggressive Iranian activity is to work cooperatively with our allies to deter and disrupt Iranian threats. This is why we increased our security cooperation with the Gulf Cooperation Council following the Camp David summit and have provided additional assistance to Israel. Furthermore, we continue to coordinate with our coalition partners to interdict illicit Iranian weapon shipments throughout the region. We also share your deep concern about Iran's attempts to develop increasingly capable ballistic missile systems, which are a threat to regional and international security. While full implementation of the JCPOA will ensure that Iran is unable to develop a nuclear warhead to place on a missile, we will continue to use all available multilateral and unilateral tools to impede the development of Iran's ballistic missile program. Our human rights policy has not changed as a result of the JCPOA. Iran violates fundamental human rights of its citizens by severely restricting civil liberties, including the freedoms of peaceful assembly, expression, and religion. Human rights-related sanctions are not subject to relief under the JCPOA, and we continue to vigorously enforce these sanctions. While our concerns about Iran are substantial, we believe it is in the U.S. national interest to continue a dialogue with Iran to address issues directly where we can, make sure that Iran is hearing both publicly and privately what we stand for and what we won't stand for. We will continue to hold Iran to its commitment to bilateral discussions about the whereabouts of Robert Levinson, and we will continue to raise the unjust detention of U.S. citizens Siamak Namazi and his father, Bakur Namazi. The Congress plays an essential role in shaping our policy and posture toward Iran. The legislative and executive branches should continue to work together, as we did to build international pressure on Iran, to calibrate our approach to countering Iranian threats while remaining willing to engage when we judge it in our interest to do so. I look forward to continued consultations with the Congress as we strive to find the right balance between keeping this hand of friendship and lines of communication open and standing strong and resolute in the face of real and dangerous threats from Iran to the United States and our partners. Again, I thank you for this opportunity to testify, and I look forward to your questions.